Hello, hello, kiddos. So, on this particular lesson that we're going to do, we're going to take a step out of what we're doing right now in our unit, and I want to focus on teaching you some important life skills that you're going to need. And the one I want to take a look at is how to do group work. Now, I know you've probably worked in partners and things like that before, but I don't know how many of you have a huge amount of experience working in a large group on a major project. And as our units continue, you're going to find that some stuff I'm going to give you, you're going to be working in partners, and then some things I'm going to give you, you're going to be working in groups of like 3 or more, where each of you have to have a job, and each of you have to make sure you accomplish a particular goal. But there's issues that pop up when working in groups, and I want to talk about some of those issues and how to solve them. Let's turn on my clicker, shall we? Okay. So whenever you get together in a group, let's say that you're given a project where you have to do a research on, let's say, a president, right? So the first thing is you need to take a look at the assignment together. Okay, well, what does Mrs. Bartos want us to do, and how are we going to accomplish that goal? So maybe I give you an assignment where you have to create a poster project on a president of your choice talking about their life and everything. So, okay, so now you know what the assignment is, right up here. Now the next step is you decide how you want to do it. Okay, how do you want the poster to look like? How do you, how do you want to go about doing the research? Do you want to, does somebody in your group happen to have a bunch of books on the president? Or do you want to do everything online? And you want to decide how you want to do it. So how are you going to go about displaying this information, right? How are you going to make your poster look like, for example? You're not actually doing this project. I'm giving you an example here. So next you have to divide up the work. So you need to figure out, okay, what needs to be done? So if you're, like, for example, with our present example, okay, well, first of all, you need to at least start your research and figure out, okay, well, who's the president you're researching on and what information do you need to know? Oftentimes what I recommend is doing a brainstorm session. You sit down as a group and you figure out, okay, this is our goal. This is what we're going to do to accomplish those goals, right? We need to find out, we need to pick a president. We need to find out where he was born. We need to figure out what his likes were. We need to figure out when he was president, things like that. Then you need to figure out how much time do you have. So let's say in this example I gave you a week. Okay, we're going to talk to your group. All right, we have a week to get this done. We need to figure out how much we need to get done each day if we're going to get this done in the time frame the teacher gave us. Decide who can do what. So, and I say here, play to everyone's strengths. So talk among your group. See who's comfortable doing certain jobs. So maybe you've got a kid in your group that they're really artistic. They're really great at drawing. Maybe have them draw some pictures for the poster. Maybe you've got a couple of kids in your group. They're really good at doing the research. That's their jam. Cool. Have them work on the research. Maybe you've got someone that they're really comfortable doing public speaking. They're totally fine being the one that presents the poster. Cool. That can be their job. Something that's important, though, is making sure that people are busy every day of a project. So nothing drives a teacher nuts more than we walk up and we still see that maybe you still have like 2, 3 days, maybe a week left to work on your project, and people are working and one person's still sitting there. Even if your job is done, there's always something to do. Ask somebody else what you can do to keep yourself busy. Because if a teacher walks up and sees you doing nothing, for most teachers, it doesn't matter if your job's done. There's something else you can be doing to finish it up. Next, check in. So, especially if this is a project that you're going to be working on for multiple days, it's important that you're checking in with each other and saying, okay, day 1, we decided what everyone was doing. Now day 2, okay, everybody, where are you at with what was supposed to be done from yesterday? Okay, maybe everybody had a little job that they had to do for homework. Somebody had to get some research started. Somebody had to get the colored pencils. Somebody had to get the poster. So now sit down and figure out, okay, everyone did their job from last night? Cool. So now let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Even if it's a one-day project as well, because sometimes you'll have bigger activities that you're going to do that are just a day long. It's important to stop your group and check in and say, okay, how's everybody doing? Is everyone doing their job? Or if it's a longer project that takes multiple days, check in every day. Actually, I recommend checking in at the beginning of the hour and at the end of the hour. Okay, at the beginning of the hour, all right, did you get everything done you had to do yesterday? Cool. And then at the end of the hour, all right, guys, what do we need to get done here so that way we can finish this project in time? And like I said before, stay busy. Even if you're done with your project, Find out what else you can do. And if you're absolutely stumped and your group's stumped on what to have you do, check in with the teacher. Maybe there's an idea that we can think of that you guys didn't think of before. So that's group work in a nutshell, right? These are the ins and outs of working in a group that you need to be aware of. But as you work with groups, you'll find that there's different kinds of personalities that come out. I know some of you may be like, what do you mean personalities? Let me explain. As you get to working in groups, you'll find that there are a good like 3, maybe 4 distinct personalities that come out, or types of people that you run into in group work. Some of these people you've probably run into before. Maybe you haven't, but you will. These are individuals that I encountered myself when I was working in group work, and I'm going to give you some ideas on how to deal with these kinds of people. So personality number 1, the lone wolf. You see them a lot in groups, especially if you have a kiddo in your group that they're a high flyer. They're very bright. They know what they want to do. They know how they want to do it. The problem is they don't know how to lead. They have an idea of how they want to do their project, but they're looking at it as their project, not a group project, and they want everything done their own way, right? Even when you try to contribute good ideas, nope, they shoot it down. Or maybe you agreed that you were going to get a purple poster. Well, that person decided they like blue better, so they're just going to go ahead and get blue whether you like it or not. I mean, that's rough when you work with a person like that. So what do? Be proactive. So talk it out with this person. If need be, sit down with the teacher and say, listen, we're not getting along here. How do we solve this problem? Because I've got a grade that I want to keep up, and so do you. How can we figure this out so that way we're all getting along? So of course that leads to talking it out. I always recommend students try to talk it out on their own first. And if you're trying to talk it out and neither one of you is willing to budge, pull in a teacher. Sometimes that teacher can help you, that third person, that voice of reason that can give you both ideas on what to do. But overall, with the lone wolf, just be patient. Just keep doing your work. Even if lone wolf keeps insisting on doing everything, make sure you put your foot down. Listen, you need to give me a job to do. You can't just do everything. And keep everything that you do as well. So that way later on, even if lone wolf keeps changing things on you, sometimes these lone wolf folks too sometimes try to tell the teacher that you didn't do anything, even though you did. It's just lone wolf kept redoing your stuff. You have it. You have proof. No, I made labels for the poster. I made pictures for the poster. Here's everything I did. Lone wolf just kept changing it on me. So, just keep working. That's all I can say. Keep busy. Lazy bones. Yeah, we've all definitely encountered this, dude. If you haven't, you're blessed. Or possibly you are lazy bones. So either this person doesn't want to work or will start to work and get nothing done. So these are the folks where, maybe as you're working on that president project, you all divided up your jobs. Maybe this person will call this person Z. You said, Z, all we need you to do is type up the labels for the poster. Cool. You look over, you see Z starting to type up labels, but by the end of the hour, you look over on his doc that he was supposed to be typing, and you see he got nothing done. Instead, he was like surfing the internet or doing whatever. He just wasn't doing his work. Or if they do anything, they do the absolute minimum. So you may tell Z, hey, can you type up these labels for the poster? Cool. He typed up the labels, but he didn't make sure the font was big enough. Because think about it, if you're going to put a label on a poster, you need to be able to see it from far away. Well, maybe Z, when they typed up the labels, they just typed it up in regular size font. They didn't type it up to be big enough so everyone can see it. So you have to go back in and fix it. Or if you're working on a G slide, maybe Z just did plain white slides. They didn't bother putting any cool, colorful backgrounds or pictures on it to make it look nice. Like I said, they either do nothing or they do the absolute minimum they can to get by. So what do? Give them a clear job to do. Z, you are typing up the labels. You need to make sure the labels are at least a 24 font. Please make sure they're in New Times Roman, and I want to see them all done by the end of the hour. Don't give them wiggle room. Because that's what lazy bones do. They're going to try to pull out every inch of wiggle room to do nothing. Don't let them do that. And make sure to be nice about it too. I mean, don't bark at them. You can tell them in a nice way, this is what I want you to do, and this is exactly how you're supposed to do it. Clearly document what each group member did. What you will find, especially if you work on projects with me, and a lot of teachers do this too, you'll find this in the future, we'll often give you sheets or charts where you're supposed to write down everything everybody did. So that way, when we go back and look at the project, if I take a look at this poster project and I see the labels look awful, I could say, guys, these labels look awful. Well, everyone would say, well, Z did the labels, and Z wouldn't try to do a better job despite the fact we asked him to do it. Cool. So I know when I'm taking points away from Z's grade, not yours. And inform the teacher. So I always say try to talk it out with Lazy Bones first, and if Lazy Bones just isn't getting any better, you're like into the second day of the project and Lazy Bones isn't doing anything, pull the teacher aside and say, listen, we've tried to talk to this kid. We've tried to get this kid to do work. We're just letting you know that despite our best effort, Z's not doing anything, or Lazy Bones or whatever. They're not doing anything. We just want to let you know so that we come grade time. If something doesn't look right, here's what's going on. So if you let us know at the beginning of the project, we can be aware of it, and even I can hop in and tell Lazy Bones, do your work or I'm calling home. If you try and tell us this stuff at the end of the project, there's nothing I can do at that point. The project's done. So please keep the teacher informed. The socializer. Socializer and Lazy Bones tend to be very closely related. Here's why. They're only there to chat. They just want to talk to everybody. They're going to talk to people in your group. They're going to be chatting with the person in the next group. They're often very nice. But the thing is, they don't get much done. They're more focused on trying to chat and have a good time than do any of the work. And the rough thing about the socializer is it's hard to get mean with the socializer because, like with Lazy Bones sometimes have like a bad attitude, or they just have this meh, I don't care attitude about them. So it's easier to get firm with them, whereas with socializers, it's hard to get kind of mean with them because they're so nice, but they're not doing anything. So, I mean, it's the same thing with Lazy Bones. Sometimes you gotta be clear with them. Listen, here's what you gotta do. I don't know, let's call our example Tommy. I don't know. So Tommy, listen, it's really cool. I know you want to talk about the football game with your buddy in the next group, but we've got a lot to do here. So can you please table that conversation for another time? You've got to get labels typed up for our poster. You need to get them done by the end of the hour. Okay, cool. Check in with the socializer at least like a couple times a hour. How you doing? How you doing? If you see a socializer, keep talking. You may have to tell them, dude, you can't. You just can't right now. Of course, also clearly document who did what. So make sure you have a chart. If the teacher doesn't already give you one, I recommend maybe make one of your own and everyone write down what they did. So that way, if something isn't done right or isn't done at all, you can show the teacher, see, look, Tommy didn't do anything because he was too busy talking to his football buddies. Nothing against footballers. I'm just using an example here. Sometimes you have to get real. Like I said, sometimes you got to put your foot down, socialize, and say, listen, you're really nice. I just can't. And the tough thing with socializers, too, is sometimes what they do is they try to pawn their work off on you. So they'll be really, really nice to you and say, hey, Sally, listen, I know I had 2 days to get those labels typed, but, you know, I've got a football game tonight. Can you get those typed up for me? Don't fall for that trap. Tommy, you had 2 days to get them typed up. I'm sorry you've got a game, but you still got to do it because I got my jobs done. Okay? You know, I mean, it's good to help each other in a group, but don't let someone pawn off all the work on you. And of course, as always, let the teacher know. You may be surprised. We may notice it right before you do, but in case we don't, let us know, and let us know sooner rather than later. If you wait till the end of the project, there's nothing we can do at that point. So, final tips. When creating jobs, some key jobs that I tend to tell people that you can create in a group if you're not sure where to start is a leader. So it's the person that's going to be in charge that helps assign the jobs, helps be that pep talker, keep people going, keep people in line. Excuse me. There's the writer. So this is the person that maybe they've got to type up labels, maybe they've got to handwrite some stuff down. Researcher, so if there's any information you need to look up, whether it be information about the president or maybe you need to look up pictures for your poster. You know, a researcher is also another good job. These are some pretty good, you know, pretty basic jobs that you'll see for any project. However, sometimes the bigger the project, the more jobs you'll have to create. So keep that in mind. And as always, whenever there's an issue, please let the teacher know sooner rather than later. I've had groups go through an entire project and then at the end of it tell me so-and-so did nothing the entire time. But so-and-so is saying, no, they did stuff. But the other people, it's the end of the project. At that point, I can't really do much. So please make sure you keep the teacher informed. So let's take a look at a few scenarios here, huh? Oh, well, I didn't include my scenarios. Oh, well. So, you know, in this, it's usually at this point that we kind of discuss as a class, what do we do? But just keep in mind, if you're working in a group, like I said, if you're working in a group, let's say the Map Island project, I decided to make a group project. Cool. So when you sit down with that, I already gave you guys packets and worksheets to look at to figure out what all needs to be done. Well, you can sit down with your group. Let's assume this is a group of 3, and you decide, okay, hey, you're all doing your jobs, you're all getting on top of it, but then somebody decides that they're just going to chat with a buddy the entire time. What you can do is talk to your friend, talk to your group member, and say, listen, nah, I can't. I'm not going to let my grade tank because you want to talk to everybody. Sometimes, if need be, teachers have been known to reassign group members. So I've literally had a situation where I've had a person in a group that they refused to do anything. Despite my best efforts, I've called home, nothing. So I've told that person before, you're working on your own on this project because you won't work with anybody. If you find that maybe you're the only person in your group that's doing everything and everyone else is being lazy, talk to the teacher. What I often recommend is try to talk to each other and say, listen, set due dates in your own group. Hey guys, you need to get the labels done by this time. You need to get a poster by this time. You need to get the pictures found by this time. Set those hard deadlines so that way there's no wiggle room. And if people don't meet that deadline, then you can say, listen, we set this deadline. We agreed on it. You got to get it done. And in reality, when it comes to trying to figure out group work, it's a lot of kind of figuring it out as you go along. Remember, if you're stuck on anything, reach out to a teacher and always be willing to talk it out. Take care, and if you need anything, let me know.